We're all told to put ourselves in someone else's shoes when we need to apologize. But what if you physically can't? Today, we are going to explore a completely different way to say you're sorry, and we're going to do it through the fascinating lens of a mind that literally can't see pictures.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What does a genuine, sincere apology actually require? We usually think it has to start with visualizing the other person's pain. But, as we're about to see, the path to making things right might not be visual at all.
So the standard advice is just burned into our brains, right? Put yourself in their shoes. And almost always, we take that as a visual command, like we're supposed to run a mental replay of what happened.
We try to picture the moment, replaying it like a movie inside our heads. We try to see their face, imagine the whole scene from their point of view, and through that mental film, we try to, simulate their feelings. This whole visualization thing is basically held up as the gold standard for empathy.
But here's the twist. What happens when someone's mind doesn't have a mind's eye? What if they are physically incapable of creating that little mental movie? Now, this isn't just some thought experiment. It's a very real neurological condition.
The term for it is aphantasia. Basically, it means that when you tell someone with it to picture an apple, they totally understand the concept of an apple. It's round, it's a fruit, it can be red or green, but no actual images appear in their head. It's a mind that thinks in concepts and facts, not pictures.
And this brings us to the big central question. If the standard for a good apology is a visual replay of someone's pain, are people with aphantasia just incapable of being truly sorry? Or is there another way to get there?
Well, the answer is a definite yes. There is absolutely another path to empathy, one that completely bypasses the mind's eye. And it's a path built on structure, on asking the right questions, and on pure logic. Now, notice the keyword here, understand. The goal completely shifts. It's no longer about feeling what they felt by seeing it, but about understanding their perspective on a conceptual level. That simple little change in focus opens up a whole new way to connect. So here you can see the two approaches right next to each other. Over on the left, you've got the familiar visual apology, but on the right, that's the logical apology. It's not about replaying a movie, it's more like building a blueprint, a solid intellectual model of what the other person went through.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it's a pretty concrete 4-step method. First, you ask questions to figure out the core concepts. Was this about respect or trust or maybe feeling secure? Second, you connect your actions to those concepts. Third, you build that logical model in your head. And finally, and this is so crucial, you explain that model back to them to prove you genuinely get it. The key to this whole thing is getting to a logically sound understanding. The goal is to piece together a model that makes perfect logical sense, where A led to B, which then caused C. This way, you're not just saying, hey, I'm sorry, you're actually proving I understand the exact chain of events and logic that led to how you're feeling.
And here's where it gets interesting for every single one of us. Even if you can visualize perfectly, this logical approach has some really profound lessons for how we all communicate. Maybe the biggest takeaway is that empathy isn't this one single thing. We often just assume it's this feeling-based skill, but what this shows us is that empathy is more like a destination, and you can get there by taking different roads. One might be the scenic, visual route, while another is a direct, logical highway. The point is, both can get you to the same exact place, true understanding. Okay, so let's quickly recap the big points here. First, aphantasia really challenges our default ideas about empathy and apologies. Second, it proves that you can build empathy logically, with questions and reason, not just with pictures. And third, getting to a logically sound understanding of someone's perspective is an incredibly powerful and valid way to connect. This isn't just a workaround, It's a valuable tool for anyone's communication toolkit. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. We've just taken apart a core assumption we all have about empathy. So what other big human experiences, things like love or creativity or even grief, might we be looking at through just one single narrow lens, when they too can be understood in ways we haven't even thought of yet?